What's up, my peeps? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. Today's video, I'm finally gonna put out my KKWxMARIO review slash demo. I know I've taken forever and I'm so sorry, but here it is. I'm gonna start off with the shade Decade to set my eyelids. It's always great when an eyeshadow palette comes with this kind of creamy shade because I feel like I use this type of shade in a lot of my looks. Next, I'm taking the shade Miami and putting that on my crease. I'm slowly blending this color. At first I didn't think it was going to show up that much because I wasn't getting a lot of pigment, but it was building up really nicely. So you know, at first it might look like there's no pigment, but as soon as you blend it up, it goes on beautifully. As you can see in my video, I did have to go in with a couple layers. I think I went in with like 3 or 4 layers just to have this color show up on my skin tone. The great thing is that it does layer very nicely, but you know, it is still a very light color, so this might not work for everybody. That munchkin in the background is my little sister, so if you get bored of my makeup tutorial, you can always just watch her struggle with the puzzle. You can see her repeatedly getting upset, so yeah, I hope that's entertaining. Next, I'm taking the shade Albanian and placing that right underneath that first shade into my crease. The same thing with this shade. When I first put it on, I was kind of like meh. Like, I did not see the wow factor. I didn't see a lot of pigment. I was just kind of like taken back. I wasn't so excited, but I thought I would give it a try and build it up. Once I built it up, the color did start to show up more, and it layered very nicely just like the first one. So I can really see where they were going with this palette. I know Mario is a professional makeup artist, and usually makeup artists like to, you know, take their time, build up colors, so I can really see that through this palette. For this color, I did go in with about 2 to 3 layers to build the color to its best opacity. For these shades, I wouldn't say that they're difficult, but you are definitely going to have to spend some time building up these colors. The great thing is that they layer nicely, they're not patchy, and they go on super smooth. So those are your pros, and just remember, if you want those shades to come out really nice, you're going to have to go in by layers. You can see, even just with the second layer, you can definitely see the color coming out more. And you know, as long as you layered it up, you should be good. This reddish shade is probably my favorite of the whole palette. I really do love warm tones. That's what I lean more towards. If anything, I'm going to be reaching this palette just for that color because it goes on beautifully and it's just a nice color. The one thing I did think this palette was missing was a darker brown with warm tones, because the palette does have a dark brown, but it's more of a cool tone, and if I put that on top of the reddish color, then it was just gonna get muddy. I've made that mistake before and I wasn't going back there again. So I do really think that the palette needed a more warm tone, deeper shade to give definition, you know, to add some depth to the look. So I am gonna come back crease. I wasn't sure where I was going with my look, but all I knew was that I wanted to use as many shades as possible. So I was trying to decide between the shades Glam and Bronzy. I ended up going with Bronzy because in my head it made more sense because it was darker and it tied in with the look better. But looking back at it now, maybe I should have used the shade Vegas since that is the deepest shade on the palette, and that is, I think it's like a semi shimmer because or semi satin, because it's not completely glittery but it's not completely matte. Next, probably the most hyped up shade ever, the shade Libra. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on 2/3 of my lid and kind of just blend it right into that edge where that brown is. So for this color, it is very pretty, and you know, it goes on beautifully. The only thing I noticed is that when I was done doing my makeup, the blue had faded a little bit, so I did go in and reapply. But overall, it is a pretty color. You know, I can't complain about it. It's much lighter than I thought it would be. I thought it was gonna be like my shirt, but it's more of a neon blue. Also, I thought it was going to be way more metallic. It's not really that metallic. It does have some shine to it, but it's not like really metallic. Also, I had a little bit trouble blending it into this copper shade. I don't know if you can see, but I can see like where it like clearly ends, and I really tried to blend it in, but it was just not doing it. I think the blue is so overpowering that the rest of the shadows, like the metallic shadows, just kind of look dull next to it. Next, I took the shade Armenian and placed it from the inner corner to where about the blue starts. Again, it's a very pretty shade, but I feel like it looks very dull next to that bright blue. So like, I don't know, I feel like it wasn't shining enough, it wasn't popping enough for me, but it was still a pretty shade. So I'm going to be taking the shade Albanian again and gonna try to deepen up my crease. Again, I didn't want to use that darker brown because it was very cool tone, so I felt like it was going to get muddy. Right now you're seeing me reapply the blue just because I did feel like it did fade when I was blending the other colors on top. For inner corner highlight, I'm going to use the shade 2008. This was actually a very, very pretty inner corner brown bone highlight. This was giving me the shine that I was expecting from the other eyeshadows. So I really, really enjoyed this color. Next, I'm going to go in with some liquid liner. This is the NYX matte liquid liner, I believe it's called. This is my favorite liner of all time. So yeah, I just wanted to see how well the eyeliner layered on top, and it did fairly well. The lower lash line, I'm going to be taking the shade Armenian and smoking it out. And closer to the waterline, I did use the shade Loyalty just to kind of use it as a liner to add a little bit more definition. Okay guys, so do I recommend this palette? I do and I don't. I do because the shadows are really nice, they blend out beautifully, and that blue is stunning. I don't because, I mean, there's nothing really that special about this palette. I have many colors similar to this in my Morphe palettes and my Kat Von D palettes. But you know, if you're a Kim K fan and you really want this palette, or you're missing these shades in your collections, then I would say go ahead and buy it because overall the shadows are really nice. Well, anyways guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.